if you clicked on this video, you probably have too many interests, like I mentioned in the title. And you're also kind of worried about that. You're asking yourself all these questions of what should I do with my life? What direction should I go in? What kind of interests could I use to make my life successful or make my life go forward, move forward? And in this video, I would like to give you a bit of comfort, give you a bit of hope in that regard, because I've done a bit of research into polymaths, or people that have a lot of interests, a lot of passions, and kind of jump from one thing to the next, but can't really stay on one thing and really commit to it to move forward in that one thing. Now, if you don't know who I am just a guy who is like you, who has a lot of interests and passions and tried to make a lot of stuff work. Of course, some stuff didn't work, but some stuff did. So I have a little bit of experience in this, and I hope to pass it on to you so that you could use it in your own life. So the title of this video is, if you have too many interests or something like that, too many interests, stop trying to fix it. And the reason for that is that I think nowadays, what we have to do in the AI heavy world of today, actually move forward with a lot of different things, a lot of different interests, a lot of different passions, and building out skill sets around all of those things is actually a very good thing. And I will explain and elaborate why I think that way. In an AI heavy world, specialization is going to soon become obsolete for a lot of fields. Now, of course, specialization in some fields cannot be replaced by AI as easily. For example, a surgeon needs to be very adaptive to specific situations and needs to have very specific knowledge about certain things to make his profession work, or to actually deliver good work in that profession. So of course there are some fields that will always need a human who is specialized in that field and cannot be replaced by AI. But a lot of other fields can be replaced by AI if you just train the AI in the speciality of that field. I think about law because I have 2 law degrees, and I see it in my work nowadays, and colleagues of mine, lawyers, who they can clearly, they get signals, or they, when they use AI, they can clearly see that AI is getting so good to the point that it will completely replace their job in legal research within the next 3 to 5 years, which is a very scary thought, because me and these colleagues, we studied 5+ years to get degrees in law and to be actually qualified to deliver work in that area. And so AI is becoming very, very powerful, which means that people in some fields where specialization was previously rewarded are going to now be punished, because they just have this one specialization in one field, but if AI can replace it, then their specialization is no longer needed, and what are they going to do then? You know, they don't have anything else to fall back on unless you focus on multiple interests and kind of build out a skill level in all of them. Now, there's a bit of debate around whether you should do those things at the same time, or if you should kind of take a waterfall approach where you do first one thing and then you move on to the second one and then the third one. And honestly, I think both can work, but both are very necessary paths nowadays in the AI age. Whether you do the skill building in all of these interests at the same time, or if you take the waterfall approach, I think it's better than just being specialized in one thing, because there is a lot of risk to staying in one field and really banking on the fact that you will be specialized in that one field and being able to deliver value in that for the rest of your career. I think that is a very dangerous mindset nowadays, and I feel like it's much more important to kind of diversify your skill level, diversify your interests, because I think a lot of human beings stick to one thing because they don't think it's necessary to kind of how should I say it, to kind of taste other things and to see where their interest brings them. And what I mean to say by that is that a lot of people still need to kind of experiment with different things and to see if it could be something that they are interested in or that they want to pursue. Because that's the thing that is going to determine who in the AI age is going to be extremely valuable. If you are able to build up a skill level, build up expertise in multiple different fields, then you run the lowest risk of replacement by AI. Because when AI takes over in one of those fields, you still have a lot of other fields to rely on and to fall back on, that you have experience in, that you can offer value to the world in. So that's why I chose that title for the video. If you have too many interests, stop trying to fix them. Because a lot of people, which is a natural consequence of how the world was a few decennia ago, I've heard since they were a child that they should focus on one thing and go deep in that. You know, the traditional path of you go to school and then you kind of have an idea of what you want to pursue, what career you want to go into, and then you pursue higher education, or you immediately go into the job market and you get a job in a field where you can build up the experience and build out a career. A lot of people have been hearing that, myself included, to really bank on that speciality because that's what was valuable in the world. Doctors, lawyers, accountants, and so on. Building a very specific expertise. So a lot of people have been hearing this since they were a kid. And now they have this identity shame when they grow up, that when they feel themselves kind of going deep in one thing and then pulling themselves back because they saw something else that was very interesting and going into that. And there you have this dynamic of not really going very far in one thing, but going very superficial in a lot of things. And the skill that I'm trying to propose here in this video is that you find a way to go deep in multiple interests. Not to stay superficial, but not to delete that ability of being interested in multiple things. Like I said in the first part of the video, having that desire to learn about so many things is actually a superpower, but you need to implement it the right way and to really move forward in those fields, in those niches, let's say. Because only then will you become valuable in those multiple fields. If you stay super superficial, then you're not going to be able to offer anything of value, at least for the moment yet, because nowadays specialists are still winning. Generalists are going to win in the future. Now, specialists are still at the top. So this video is kind of a future perspective or of where the market is going to go and what the market is going to value. A engineer who knows how to cook, who knows how to code and paints beautiful paintings is going to be much more valuable than any of those 4 disciplines on their own. And then there's another aspect that comes along with that, but that's maybe something for another video, is personal branding, because the more your face is the value in the market, the less replaceable you become. But that's something for another video. In this video, I really want to tackle that you can be interested by many things, but you just need to know how to pursue them and how to actually build them out and to have something that you can create value in. Now, this is not a promotional video. I really just want to kind of get this out because I think it's very important for people to understand. But I do have a free school community about polymathy and multiple interests and how you can kind of monetize that. It's free, so you could just join, and I would love to connect with you on multiple interests, and you can tell me about the interest that you have. So I would always love to learn about that. So if that's something that interests you, you can go check that out. But let's get back to the video. I think it's just important because I saw a video of Von Jean where he talks about how you could actually become successful in pursuing multiple interests. And I scrolled through the comments because I was fascinated. It was a very high performing video. So there were a lot of comments, and I wanted to just see how people were feeling about that, what their pain points were, what their problems were, because that's something that I would like to solve in my community. But one of the things that was prominent in those comments is that identity shame. There was one comment of someone saying, "I have found my people." And then in a response to that comment, there was someone else that said that since they were 12, they have been hearing that they should go deep in one thing and really pick a lane and stick to that lane in order to become successful. But of course, a polymath cannot do that. They want to pursue multiple interests. They want to go deep in more than one field. And so if you keep hearing that from people, and people make you believe that it's a bad thing to dabble and to kind of experience more than one thing, you start to, like I said, you start to regret or kind of be shameful about who you are and what you're doing in life. You feel like you're doing it wrong. You feel like you're actually going nowhere while you are, you know? It takes time to build up a lot of experience and skill in a field. A person that chooses one field and goes straight for that field will obviously do that faster than someone who kind of builds out expertise in multiple fields. But imagine over a period of 20, 30 years, who is going to have a more fulfilling and complete life. Now, I don't mean to assume or say that people that are specialists and pick one field are unhappy, but I feel like it gives the opportunity for a more complete life if you have experienced more and if you have built experience in more than one thing. So imagine 20, 30 years in the future, who is going to have a more complete life? The person who really chose to stick to one thing, who will also have a harder time pivoting later because they just build out a career in one thing, or the person who has dabbled in so many things and had experience in so many things, maybe traveled to places to learn those things. I feel like that's a much more fulfilling life. Being a true polymath, being someone who, diversifies their expertise, experience, and interests. So it's certainly not a bad thing to have too many interests. And I feel like most of the people telling you that you should pick a lane don't believe that that's a bad thing either. But what is the point here is that you do need to find a way to build out real expertise in the interest that you chose. Because if you don't, you will remain surface level, and the market only rewards people who have vast expertise in one thing or in a field. So you really do need to find a way to kind of build it out more. Whether you do it in a waterfall structure, like I said, one thing first and then the second thing, or you do them at the same time. That second option is a bit riskier. It's still possible, but you really need a system there. You need a kind of planning, a system where you can rely on in order to build up that experience. So that's the point that I want to leave this video with. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. But if you have anything to add, please drop a comment. I would love to talk to you about that. And like I said, if the community seems something that you might be interested in, then consider joining. It would be so amazing for me to see you guys in there. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.